is the Modern Conservative Podcast with Jon Harvey.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Harvey. My friends call me John, and it is Thursday at about 6 o'clock our time. I'm a little late than usual, even though we're not recorded. So, Brian, I apologize for being late, but I had some things I had to get taken care of before coming on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, look us up at the Modern Conservative Podcast or tmcpnation.com, and that was actually on Facebook, the Modern Conservative Podcast. You can look me up on TikTok under Ruthless Truths and take a gander, take a visit. You can also participate in not donating because I don't take donation because I believe you should get something for your money. You can buy merchandise as well on the website. We don't do free money. Today I want to talk about something that's a hot topic in this country. It's really a hot topic here in Utah. But like I said, it's going on in the entire country and other countries as well. That's called the DIE programs, such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's really big in Utah because we have things that are going on here that really doesn't happen as much, maybe years gone by. But for Utah, we get along with each other. But lately, in the last few years, we've been pushing these DIE programs because, for some reason here in our state, we think, some of the minority cultures, I think they're missing out on something because of their skin tone, or their ethnicity. Good Lord, I can't even talk today. Their ethnic history. And I've spoken out against this to the capacity where I truly believe that no man, no matter what his color is, no matter what his religion is, or his sexual preference may be, should get anything more than any other citizen in this country. I don't think our Constitution leans to the left or leans to the right, per se. But I will say it is based on religious values, conservative values, and moral issues. Basically, the laws of the land. These programs that these colleges are pushing and these schools are pushing are absolutely non-beneficial to children as we see it today. Maybe years gone by, it had some kind of good value, but not today. Today, those programs are teaching kids how to be mostly racist. It teaches you how to alienate your history, in some cases, your culture. If not alienating your culture, it's allowing you to, or actually wanting you to dumb yourself down to your history. And see, that's the problem what's going on in our country right now, because people don't know enough about their history, and they will say some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard of because they don't know the history. And so, when these people are hanging out in the same cesspool, you've got the blind leading the blind. And when the blind's leading the blind, it reinforces their stupidity or ignorance or lack of knowledge. But what it doesn't do, it does not broaden their education as far as history. There's a lot of people in this country don't realize that, I hate to say this, but it's true. This go back to the history of the country. There's a lot of people, and I would dare to say, half of the country, if not more than half, believe that slavery was ended by the Democrats. Now, you wouldn't know that because today the Democrats are pretending to be the great savior of most minority cultures in this country, which actually isn't true. Because you take the border down, or you don't want the border, doesn't mean you support the people that are coming across. Maybe it's because you have a use for them that's necessary for them to come across. For example, maybe voting. Maybe you need a new, how do I say this, harvest of voters. Because you're realizing the Black community is not growing as rapid as the Hispanic community. You know, they've proven that their test study has worked. You know, in 1968, 69, when LBJ said that we would have all the Negroes, said lightly on the N-word, because that's my word. His word was not Negroes, but I'm sure you can come close in guessing what it was. We will have them voting Democrat for the next 100 years. People who don't know the history don't know this. I was watching a show the other day when there was a Black woman on the show. She was actually on a podcast that was on the show, and it was on the Breakfast Club, which is the most liberal Blacks I know of. And they're the biggest capitalists I know of, but yet they want to call themselves liberals when you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars as capitalists. I don't want to get too far off on this one, but I just want to say this real quick. I am trying to be delicate here for a change. People don't realize when they're stupid. You listen to somebody who tells you how bad capitalism is on a podcast, but because he's Black, you don't realize he's a capitalist. See, this is where the world's gone crazy and have gotten really stupid, and their common sense has gone out the door. You got a capitalist telling you how bad capitalism is. I watched him on his podcast, and he says, and this is what he says, is Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club. This is what he had stated. He said that capitalism has also been bad for the country. Well, I guess he's practicing the point of capitalism that's good for the country and good for him. Because I truly believe, as a Black man, capitalism has done a lot for this country. Ask Michael Jordan. Ask Dr. Dre. Ask the founder of BET. Ask Oprah Winfrey. Ask Barack Obama. Ask the founder of Godfather Pizza, Herman Cain. Ask these successful Black millionaires. Hey, go in Atlanta. This is what you do. Go in Atlanta. Atlanta has more wealthy Black men than anywhere in the country. And they're self-made. Now, that doesn't mean they're conservative, but if they're a liberal, they're not a real liberal. They say that and they do these things to placate to your feelings, which is capitalism is bad. And as long as they're saying capitalism is bad, you're going to forget that they are capitalist. So back to my original topic was DEI programs. The DEI programs teaches you that white man bad, Black history doesn't exist, and it's not truthful unless it depends on the person who's telling the history. The DEI programs also teaches you that reparation should be good, and everybody should share in everybody else's misery when it comes to what goes on in the schools. Case in point, I'll explain to you in a minute. If a child is, for example, white, and he's been picked on by a Black kid, that's not bullying. How do I know that? Because it's happened here in this state. It's not bullying. See, the Black kid doesn't get the same punishment as the white kid. even if the black kid gets suspended from school, and here's why I say that. Because if it's the black kid, you're just a badass black kid, and you got suspended for picking on a white dude. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even come out that you're picking on a white dude. You just got suspended. Now, if the roles were reversed and it was a white kid picking on a black kid, then it's bullying. Then it's racism. And all the other stereotypical things that they use to make that white kid to be, or to seem to have come from a bad environment, or just by innate, he's a racist because he's white. Because that's where the country has gone now for half the country. If you're white, it ain't right. But the problem with this stuff, you got the young white kids now in these colleges who bought into this shit. They bought into it, so they start speaking on behalf of black kids as if they were black themselves, and they too were the victims. You know the expression, to get along is to get along? Well, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get in where they can fit in. And they figure we can get in by fit in as a white youth by saving the black race, or appearing to saving the black race. We don't need any help, people. You're actually, I've said it a 1,000 times, you're actually making it worse than it needs to be. Stand up for your own culture. Know my history, but tell everybody about yours. See, and this is how we progress. Know your history, know my history, but tell everyone about yours. But the catch is, if you tell everyone about your history, you become a racist. Because the dominant history to talk about right now is the black history. I mean, it's amazing to me, with 13% of the population, but we want 100% of the population to know who we are. And I would tell you, based on race, they shouldn't give a damn about who you are as far as your race. Your character should stand out way before your color hits the door upon entering a room. When people come to listen to you, they shouldn't listen to you because you're black. They listen to you because you resonate with them, whether you're black, white, yellow, or brown. Most of the conversation that I have on my show, it is pertaining to everybody being equal. I'm tired of hearing yesterday's score for today's game being used. What happened during slavery? It's really not a current topic. You want to talk about racism? It's not really a current topic, only to those who are trying to perpetuate it. And those who are trying to perpetuate it are usually racist themselves. When you got white kids thinking that they shouldn't exist, or they shouldn't own property or own land or own anything materialistic wise because they're white, the problem is now you have guilted them so bad to the point where they can't acknowledge their history, nonetheless their own race, because they're ashamed. They've been made to feel guilty for being white. And that's what these DIE program is all about. It's about teaching kids at an early age. Yes, I was going to get back to my original topic, and here we go. And that's what the DIE program is about. It's about teaching kids at an early age that you should feel sorry and feel guilty for what happened 200 years ago. See, it's about making you feel guilty. It's not about teaching you how to get a job. It's not about teaching you how to become a teacher that's nonpartisan, that doesn't bring politics to her classroom. That's not what it's about anymore. It's about training the next generation, not teaching, but training the next generation to be so-called social-minded intent for the future. It's not about teaching you how to be a doctor or lawyer, because as a matter of fact, nowadays in school, If you want to be a doctor, that truly has to come from within you. Because if they get rid of teacher, guess what you're not going to have? Kids that's striving to be history teacher. If you get rid of history, I apologize. If you get rid of history, well, you're teaching kids how not to be history teacher. There was one talk they said mathematics is racist. How in the Sam hell is math racist? Really? So when you say shit like that, you're telling black kids, I'm not going to learn math because it's racist. So then what you're doing, then you're teaching the black kids, I could never be a math teacher. Because as a black kid, it would be racist. What they don't teach you in school is this: why black kids should never be Democrats. Because that would go back to learning your history. So if you learn your history, kids would know why they would not want to be Democrats. In your political classroom, they're not teaching you, when it comes to politics, why you shouldn't be a Democrat either. Especially black kids. If black kids really knew their history, they would never, ever be Democrats. But the problem is they were indoctrinated at an early age. And this is why we have the problem we are having today with black kids thinking, since I'm black, I should be Democrat. No, actually, the truth of the matter should be simply this: Republican. If you go Democrat because you believe that the Democrats helped you out of slavery, the Democrat helped you get your civil rights, then you've been reading the wrong history books. As a matter of fact, if you look in mid-60s, early 70s history books, even there you can learn what real history was all about. And you have to ask yourself sometime, people, if you're a Democrat, why is this man, this conservative who happens to be black, against the Democrat Party? I'm not against the Democratic Party of today. I'm actually against it since 1866. See, I'm against it because it was the Republicans that freed the blacks. It was white folks that freed the blacks. It was 600,000 white folks freeing 3 million slaves. I will say this, alongside them, there were 30,000 free blacks also in that war. It was blacks and white unifying together to free 3 million slaves. Blacks and whites. I repeat one more time, blacks and whites. Now, you think during that war, they were worried about racism? But no, because here's what was great about that war. Back in the time where slavery was going on, 630,000 individuals who were of two different races fought together to end something that was evil. They used their common sense in that war. They fought in a unified war. It shouldn't even be called the Civil War. It should be called the Unified War. The War of Unification. That's what it should be called. Because it is obvious. They had the same goal. They had the same goal, and that was to stop slavery. They even put their lives on the line. And how people disrespect them with these DIE programs, which is to teach kids how to hate one another or why we are so different. And because we're different, we should be in completely separate train cars. That's what makes the DIE programs so evil. This diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. This is what cowards bring about. This is the shit that cowards push. because that's 630,000 people that fought in war in 1865 and 1866. They weren't thinking about diversity, equity, inclusion. They were thinking about freeing 3 million slaves. And for you to walk around this country as a Democrat proclaiming because you're black, you have something to do with 1866, you're wrong. You're just trying to reap the benefits of what 630,000 people did that you cowards refuse to stand behind. Because don't tell me you're against slavery and you're still talking about racism in this country when you know damn well it is not like what happened even in 1962, 1964. Half of you fools were never around during 62 and through 64. Hell, you're lucky if you're around during 68. That was when the boycotts were taking places in 62. That was when also 68, when the Equal Rights Bill was signed by the Republican Party by percentages. Some of you will sit there and disbelieve what I'm telling you, but you're too damn much of a coward to look it up, because you know if you look it up and you're wrong, it's like, oh, damn. I should have never opened that book. Because you're too embedded in the Democratic Party. You have been trained to be Democrats. You've been trained. There is no logical reason why you should be a Democrat, black folks. And I say this not to be personally attack you, because I don't get it. I don't get it. So we went from being free and from eating table scraps. And then in 1968, we get rights to vote, men and women, 68 and 64. But now we go back to eating out of the Democrats' hand and taking their freebies. That makes no damn sense to me. Because they give you free shit. You think you should have an allegiance to these people. And let me go one step further. Here, let me go one step further. And I know I'm going to piss some people off, but today I don't even really give a rat's ass. I don't give a rat's ass. I haven't seen too many rat's ass, but I don't give a rat's ass. You talk about being racist and how racist the country is and how racist white people are. Everything you got that's destroy your community is from a white man. The white Democrats. Abortion was Democrats. The Father Absent program was the Democrats. The welfare system is Democrats. So we go from eating table scraps in 1866 to 1968 when LBJ was in office to taking welfare stamps, food stamps. That was your indoctrination into the ghetto created by the federal government. You adopted abortions because we kill more black babies than anybody. And what's ironic is there's only 33 million of us. But do you understand something? The Democrats, you're doing exactly what the Democrats wanted you to do. Destroy your own race legally. Isn't it ironic in 1972, when the Civil Rights Bill came about, abortions were made, quote unquote, legal? And so you can legally kill your children. Since 1972, I think the numbers are anywhere from 23 to 26 million black babies have been killed. And you keep talking about us as if we're a powerhouse in this country. Only the white man had made you feel like a powerhouse. You're not anybody. You're only 33 million people. The Hispanic population is larger than yours. You need to think about these things when you open your mouth and when you stand for something and where you stand. Because I can promise you, if you're a Democrat and you're pushing the DEI program, all you're doing is helping racism. You're promoting racism. If you can't wake up and smell the coffee, I love some coffee too. But if you can't wake up and smell the coffee, you'll never get it. You will keep destroying the black race by trying to be Democrats. You will keep destroying, because all they do is push everything that destroys us. NAACP actually was founded by 90% white men. Planned Parenthood was founded by a socialist, communist, racist, you name it, she was that. Her program was eugenics, and it was to destroy the black race in 1972. Now you started doing the job for her. If you don't know why our population is on at 33 million people, 13 to 14% of the population, is because you're killing your freaking selves. You're killing our culture. You're doing it. It's not the white man. Nobody told you to go into Planned Parenthood and put those babies down. What we've been trying to teach you is how to afford to take care of those babies. But the Democrat Party will not allow you to learn outside of that Democratic box. Because one day, if you were to wake up, it would screw their party. If you were to wake up one day and realize, I'm not a Democrat, they've done everything to destroy us. Why the hell am I wearing their badge of honor? Why am I fighting their fights for them? Hell, they should be defending their fights, what they've done to the black community. And there's a lot of people on my side, the conservatives, are saying the exact same thing. You need to be asking them questions instead of calling the people who freed you racist. You need to ask more questions and quit being followers. You need to ask the Democratic Party, why in the hell should we promote you when you have done nothing but destroyed us? And historically, and many blacks know this, many blacks know this, more Republicans have died for your black asses than Democrats. In case you didn't know this, after the Civil War, majority of the blacks in this country, they were conservatives, if not Republicans. The first 23 congressmen that were black were Republicans. The first black senator was a Republican. Democrats realized they were losing the race and the game was up. So what did they start doing? Trying to look like the Republicans. That's what they really try to do. Look more like the Republicans. But the problem with the Republican Party, same as now and same as then, they act as if they are afraid to fight when it came to politics and forming the party. And it's gotten to be ridiculous, and it's carried on to today. Republicans in this country need to say, you know what? It's not my party to try to kill you. We are the one who put our children on line to free many slaves. My great-grandfather fight to free the slaves. White folks, tell the story like it really is. Quit running from it. Quit worrying about them calling you an ABC racist because you want to tell your story of how history really was in your family and your family tree. I want to tell you guys, I'm just getting tired of this DEI program and this racist shit that's going on. Once again, you're going to have the other super flu come about as well. So, I'm really getting tired of this stuff that's destroying this country and the black community. There's a lot of people believe that I'm not for the black community. Those are the people that are so bedded in the Democrat Party, they can't see daylight because their head is up the Democrat Party's ass. I'll put it that way. But I would tell you, today is Thursday. It's going to be a long weekend. I want you guys to have a great weekend. I really didn't have a lot of things to say today other than about the DEI programs and racism in this country. I want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys that are listening. I'm trying to be back every week like I am every single week. And so stay tuned. More to come. I will eventually be doing maybe 3 days in a week. I got someone I got to talk to about that. But my name is Jon Harvey, and have a great long weekend. And I'm the host of the Modern Conservative Podcast. Love you all. Have a great one.